Hello, my name is Luis. I'm a senior consultant at Red Hat, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Developer Hub and Humanitec Orchestrator. If you don't know Humanitec yet, please visit their website to discover more. So talking about orchestrating deployments, the main responsibility of an orchestrator, as the name suggests, is to orchestrate resources between clusters, public clouds, and other providers. So today I'm going to show a demo on deploying an application from Developer Hub catalog inside OpenShift and using a database on AWS. I will be showing a little bit about Developer Hub, so how to deploy an application uh, and get an overview of the other resources and tools that is used by this application. And I'm gonna show the Humanitec Orchestrator and where are the applications, resources, and other settings. So this is in the environment I'm gonna use in this demo. So I have a OpenShift cluster where Developer Hub is deployed. We are going to use Developer Hub to create an application, a Node.js application, which depends on a database. The code base and pipeline is going to be on GitHub. And we are going to use Humanitec Orchestrator to deploy the application and the database. When we create the application for the first time, so the regular development environment, it's gonna be the application in the development namespace on OpenShift and the database on AWS RDS. Once we create a pull request, it's going to create an ephemeral namespace with both Node.js application and database inside OpenShift. So let's see it. Okay, so here I have Developer Hub. I'm gonna go to the Create Templates. I'm gonna choose this Node.js template. Let's give it a name, Node 16, and hit create. So now Developer Hub have read the template, fetch the files for this code base, publish it in GitHub, created the Humanitec application inside Orchestrator, and register in this catalog. So let's go to the catalog and see what we have. So as of now, everything is created from scratch. Let me show you this. My database, my Amazon RDS doesn't have any databases yet. So let's go back here. But the CI have already started, so let's go to the CI tab. Once we create the application, I'm gonna show the code base. So there are GitHub actions for the deployment and the pull request. So for this initial commit, GitHub actions already started and it's completed. So let's take a look. Here in Developer Hub, we can see the CI status, the status of the pipelines, and we can, if you want more details, we can have here the details, but you can also have a link to go directly to the source of this information. So here in GitLab, in GitHub Actions, we have all the steps completed by this pipeline. So it has built an image, published it on Quay, which is running inside OpenShift, and Inform Humanitec created a new environment on the orchestrator and deployed the application using Score, which I'm gonna also show. So this is the application code base. Okay, let's go back to the developer hub. Here we can see there is a new environment in the Humanitec view, which says Visual Speak EHS in progress. So this is the environment created. We can use this button to go to the Humanitec Orchestrator, but let me open a new tab so I don't lose the Developer Hub tab. Yep, this one. It's loading. Okay, so this is my Node 16 application inside Humanitec Orchestrator, and this is our environment, which is deploying. So here you can see the status. It have already created an URL. It's not working yet because the application is not deployed yet. We can click here and see the logs of the deployment, and we can see that it's deploying, provisioning and deploying the resources. While it is deploying, so let me go to the AWS RDS, see. Okay, so the database is being created. This will take some time. It takes a few minutes. So while it's in deploying, let's go ahead and take a look in our code base. So here in Developer Hub, we can use this button to view source. So it goes directly to the application code base. Let me show this core file so you can understand what's going on. So basically, this file describes the application, what the application needs to be deployed. So here we have the name, node workload. It has a service to expose the port 80 and target to port 3000. So it's where node is running. Here we have the container, so the image will be set by the pipeline, and we have the variables. So here in these variables we have the port, database name, user, password, host, and database port. These variables here, they are going to be replaced by the orchestrator. So we have just one score file, and we will see this happening. We just have this one score file, and we can use the same for many environments. Okay, so we're gonna have a database on OpenShift and a database on AWS, but I don't have different configuration files for them. I just have this one, which orchestrator will replace these properties from where it generates the values. And here we have the definition for a route for this application. And the most important here, this is where I say I need a MySQL database. So this tag will let the orchestrator know that this application needs a database, and it will create a database and update the variables. Alright, so back to Developer Hub. Here it is still in progress. Uh, let's see the logs. Yeah, the AWS. So okay, so I'm gonna pause the video and we'll be back once it's finally created up and running. And I'm back. So the database is running, it's available. Let's go back to Developer Hub and we can see the deployment has succeeded. We have the resources here and we also have the route. So this is an application talking to the database on AWS using Score. Cool. So back to Developer Hub, let's take a look on the resources. We can have the topology view from OpenShift, so now we can see the node workload running over there. The CI we already saw, which is completed. The Kubernetes view shows the resources, and here we can see, for example, the pod that's running under this deployment, and we can also have the details like memory or CPU and the health, and we can see the logs, so we can see that we did a hit over there. Okay. We can have a view from image registry, so this is the build that we deployed on Quay, and here we have the API and dependencies, right, that we can build a map of the dependencies of other applications on Developer Hub. Okay, so now let's take a look in the orchestrator. So the build succeeded once the database was up and running, and also the application, so it finishes with success. Here in the Humanitec Orchestrator we have the applications that we can have a list of the applications we have in Humanitec being managed by the orchestrator. So we have this one that we just created, have this one I have created yesterday, and we have others, and we can have as much as we need. Here we have a list of the resources. So these are the resources that the orchestrator will use as template to deploy. So for example, here is the database that we just use it to create, and here we have the configuration. So this this uses Terraform and other tools to create the database on AWS, and with these resources we can create almost everything. But let's take a look on a simpler resources. For example, we have, for example, this DNS that will build the host value based on the application ID and on the environment. So this is what we have when we take a look here. So the application ID dash the environment ID, and the other part is fixed, right, is a constant of my cluster address, as you can see here. So this is DNS resource. We also have a good example, which is the namespace. Let's find this, the default namespace. So it's gonna be hum dash the application ID dash the environment ID. Let's take a look on OpenShift. So it's going to be hum dash application ID, so node 16 environment ID, please OSP KHS. So here we have only our application running. Alright, let's go to the code base. I mentioned the GitHub actions, so this is where they are. GitHub workflows. We have one for deploying when there's a push to the main branch, so it triggers the deployment on Humanitec. We have another one for the pull request, so this one, when we open a pull request or reopen, synchronize, it will create a new environment and do the build, deploy, and also generate a comment on the PR with all the status. We will see it. And the last one, when the pull request is closed, the environment is deleted. When we delete the environment inside the Humanitec Orchestrator, it deletes all the resources. So let's see how it works. Let's change our code. Okay, so I have the code for my application here. Let's just add another message, a new paragraph. So goodbye. Let's commit and a new branch and create a pull request. Okay, so GitHub is running its checks, has no conflicts, and the pull request build already started. So it's running the checks. We can see, the CI through the CI tab in Developer Hub. It's running the pull request workflow. We can see here in the Humanitec view, the PR1 environment has been created, but it's not deployed yet. It is because the pull request is running the action. So it has done the build. It's running now. It's running the deployment. Let's go to the Humanitec. And we can see it's successful. It has already finished. This is because the database creation inside the database deployment inside OpenShift is faster. So I have opened the same tab again. Let us go back to Developer Hub. And here in Developer Hub, we can see it has been already created. There is a route with the new namespace, right? The new project, node PR1. So it's already run. With we can see here in the route, right? It's just the name. It's not on AWS anymore, and we have our change. Goodbye. So back in Developer Hub, you can see that there are two environments. In the Humanitec view, we can see here in the topology view of OpenShift that now we have two node applications and a database. Here in the Kubernetes view, you will see that now we have two deployments and a stateful set. So the deployment that we already had and a new one in the PR1 namespace, hum node 16 PR1, with the database in the same namespace. Here we can it says there is an error in a pod OK. This is because the pod and the applications, they are deployed at the same time, but the database, the application and the database are deployed in the same time, but the database takes longer to come up online, and the application fails until the database is available. But now the database is already available, so the application is running. We can see here the logs. We have already reached the route, right? And we saw this running. In the image registry, we already have a new image, which was generated in the PR1 workflow. Okay, so there it is. Let's go back to the pull request. It's everything fine. So we did a code review. We did a test, right? We did all the steps in our code review workflow. We can see here the comment, right? So it has a link to the Humanitec Orchestrator, to the route, and everything. So we can merge this pull request and close it. We can also delete this branch that we are not going to use anymore. Okay, so this is done. Let's go back to Developer Hub and see what's going on. So in the CI tab, we will see that is two workflows were triggered. One was to delete the environment, the PR environment, which is completed, and another one to deploy, because once we merge the pull request, there was a push to the main branch. So once we get back here, the PR1 is deleted, we don't have it anymore, and the development namespace is under deployment. If we take a look on OpenShift, we don't have anymore the node 16 PR1 project, only the development one. Here in Developer Hub, Kubernetes tab, which is where we went to see. Now we have only the regular development namespace, deployment and service, which means the PR temporary namespace was deleted from OpenShift. Once the PR was finished, triggered a delete in the orchestrator. Let's take a look in the orchestrator. So let's go back to applications, node. Okay, here we can see it is deploying. So deployment is in progress. Let's give it a few minutes to complete. While it completes, we can take a look in the other score files that we have here in this code base. So this one set the labels to the pods, service and deployment. So it has labels to Developer Hub to pick up and show. Now it says failed. Let's see what's happening. Let's refresh. Oh, it seems like there is a problem in the Terraform. Let's rerun it. Because Terraform uses this, like I mentioned, uh, this database resource that we have here in the orchestrator, which deploys the database, uses Terraform to create the resources on AWS. But it can be used for other providers, and Terraform failed downloading the script. Let's rerun and see if now it's able to download. The database will not be recreated, but Terraform run to check if it meets the desired state. Now it is in progress again. And now it succeeded. Cool. So now we have here the deployed application with the database and everything we need. So let's go here. And now the development one should have the message goodbye inside the OpenShift application using the Amazon AWS RDS database. Okay, so that's what I would like to show you, and thanks for watching this demo. Let's go back. I would like to especially thanks Sentiu, Stefan and Clements for all the help for building this demo and these environments and making the integration of Red Hat OpenShift and Developer Hub with Humanitec Orchestrator. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.